This is probably my most used multi-tool. Looks a little strange. It is a largely custom tool made out of a myriad of Leatherman parts, and I use it every single week on our live streams to disassemble multi-tools. You should check those out if you haven't yet. But this is a tool that I designed a long time ago to help with disassembly and modification and maintenance of multi-tools and other sorts of things. And as you can see right up front, that main draw is going to be that 1/4-inch screwdriver bit. I'll go through all the things that are on this, and then we'll talk a little bit about the creation process. But it's important to have a full-size 1/4-inch driver because you can get security bits for that very easily, like this Vera T10 Torx bit. Slips right in. Obviously, I've got it locked out at 90 degrees, and I like a non-ratcheting on one side. Always use a ratcheting screwdriver on the other to open up those pivots. If you guys haven't seen our disassembly videos, you'll learn a little bit more why we like a static non-ratcheting screwdriver on one side. But suffice it to say, it is helpful. Obviously, that's going into a Leatherman bit driver from a Leatherman Wave. This is all housed inside a Leatherman rebar handle. Let me grab a complete Leatherman handle. You can see we cut that off at the end. Just use a Dremel. Took a really long time because at the time I only had a very crappy Dremel. But just removed that pivot where the plier head would normally go, turned it into a single-sided tool. And what's awesome about that is it allows the bit to stick out at the end. So if you just need to change a pocket clip or tune up a pocket knife pivot, you don't even need to open the tool. You can just grab it and use it as is. Additionally, inside, I don't know if I mentioned, this does have a detent at the roughly 90 degree. That was supposed to be 90 degree, but I messed up on that detent. Inside, we've got the file from the Leatherman Sidekick and Wingman. It's got a nice small flat screwdriver that's good for prying. And then it also has that file, which occasionally when you're modifying multi-tools, you'll leave a burr behind, and that's nice to just knock a burr off. It's not the best file in the world. It's obviously very short, but it does work for those minimal purposes. And then I've got a large flat screwdriver here. This one's off of a rebar or a wave, and that just helps, again, prying, but also, a lot of times tools will have that large kind of flat screwdriver slot designed for like a 1/4, and this works well enough on those. So those are the 3 tools I've included here. Let's talk a little bit about the making of this tool. So obviously, had to chop off the end of that rebar frame. It gets just a little bit too narrow for the bit extender to stick out. I have not tried this yet with the ratcheting driver. Maybe we should just, I don't think it's definitely not going to fit because it bulges out in an odd spot. But if you wanted to do something similar, you could maybe make this work. Maybe, probably not. You'd have to cut out the frame, and then you'd have to leave no other tools in there. Ignore that digression. I have the Leatherman bit extender. The retaining ring did pop out of this a long time ago, so I do have a small magnet glued down on the inside. That's helpful for keeping the screws attached to the screwdriver as well when they're loose. I love the knurling on this because it does let you just spin it for low torque applications. And then, as I said, you can see on the back here, I added that notch, which it's not deep enough to be a full lockup. I actually like it that way. I can spin it either out or in without engaging the lock, but it does hold there really well. And that 90-degree handle is really helpful for holding a pivot completely static while I come in from the other side with a screwdriver and knock that loose. Let's see, what else? So that was the main thing. Oh, down here, there is a bigger magnet glued in place, and that is what retains this screwdriver. It should have some retention otherwise, just like the rest of these tools, but it's obviously got a lot of length and a little bit of mass at the end, so it does tend to swing out, and that keeps it nice and locked in place. Super duper handy. The flathead screwdriver went in just fine with no modifications just enough of a nail nick there to retrieve that. And then you'll see here on the Sidekick, or the file from the Sidekick, that nail nick does stick up quite a bit. Actually makes it very, very easy to deploy. I don't believe there was any grinding necessary on the tang of this. The only grinding I had to do was right here. You can see, I hope, how there's a little bit of a shallow point right in here. And that I ground out so that it rides over the top of the locking bar here. So it gives it just a little bit of relief so it doesn't get in the way. And yeah, I use this every single week, mostly the screwdriver, but occasionally those other parts will come out. And that is what I found most useful for my multi-tool modding. Obviously, you can do it whatever way you want, but this is what I've been using for well over a year now, probably 2 or 3 years at this point. That said, I think this is a good time to tease my next version of this tool in a Roxxon Flex Companion shell. So we'll play with that in just a few weeks, I hope, if I can get it working. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you later.